Alrighty guys, Scarlet Witch is one of the easiest and best duelists you can pick in Marvel Rivals. We have a consistent source of damage and we have a great way to get out of trouble and to reposition ourselves when playing as Scarlet Witch. So today we'll go over her kit and some general playstyle tips. We'll begin with her basic attack, which is called Chaos Control. This is a great basic attack and it's very good for beginners because it does not require very precise aiming. You just have to aim in more or less the general direction of your enemy, and it will stick to your enemy and remain stuck as long as you aim in the general direction. The basic attack functions as a tick attack with 1 damage tick per 100 milliseconds. It deals a base damage of 6 and 0.3% of the enemy's maximum health per hit. The damage based on the target's maximum health makes Scarlet Witch one of the most consistent damage dealers in the game. She is also great at damaging tanks and also at peeling. Let's say for example a Venom jumps in behind and tries to threaten your healer. You can easily discourage him with your basic attack. Dealing damage based on a target's maximum health means that you will have a consistent time killing targets, whether they are tanks, DPS or healers. Since tanks have a lot of health, this means that you will deal a lot more damage to tanks than you would do to healer. That does not mean you will have to necessarily target tanks, but if you choose to do so, then Scarlet Witch is a great character at peeling and at preventing enemy tanks to jump in behind the lines and start harassing your healers or your more vulnerable characters. Since the basic attack basically has no ammo, you can deal an uninterrupted stream of damage. The big downside of Scarlet Witch basic attack is that it cannot headshot. So keep this in mind. The other important thing that Scarlet Witch's basic attack does is that it charges her chaos energy. Those are the 4 icons that you usually see at the bottom of the screen. This energy can be consumed with Scarlet Witch's first active ability, which is the Chtonian Burst. It is a fast projectile that deals a bit of splash damage and has a high speed. The main advantage of this projectile is that first it has a lot of range, so you can use it to target the healers and the DPSs that stand behind the tanks, and it also provides a nice boost of damage, so you can use it to burst down targets. The main synergy and flow of the basic attack and the burst is that you will use your basic attack to charge the chaos energy on tanks and then unleash the burst to either finish them down or to target the enemy healers and DPSs that stand grouped behind the tank. Moving on to the next ability, it is called the Dark Seal, and it is a slow projectile that sticks to a target or to a surface, and then you can reactivate it to generate a force field that periodically stuns enemies that stand inside the circle. The big downside of this ability is that the projectile is quite slow, so you may find it hard to hit, especially at long ranges. I found it most useful at choke points where I could place the Dark Seals in a doorway to prevent enemies from coming through, or if they come through, then they are stunned and grouped, and I could use the Chtonic Burst to deal loads of damage quite fast. It is also very useful in one-on-one situation, especially with flankers. Let's say you are standing behind and then a flanker comes. You can meet him with a Dark Seal between you and him to prevent him from coming in close, or you can take advantage of the fact that it is easier to aim the Dark Seal when the target is up close and let him come up close and meet him with a Dark Seal to then stun it and unleash your burst on him. Moving on to Mystic Projection, this is one of the most important skills for Scarlet Witch. It is basically a get out of jail free card for you. When you use it, you enter a phased state. This means that projectiles go straight through you and you are immune to damage. You can use it to get out of really nasty situations. For example, when you overextend and you find yourself under heavy fire from the enemy team. You can also use it to dodge ultimates, for example, Jeff's ultimate or Venom's ultimate. Whenever you see them casting, you can use Mystic Projection and not be affected by their ultimates. The other important part in this ability is that it provides you free movement. You can go in any direction you like or even fly. You can use this to reposition yourself or to gain higher ground. You can combine it with Scarlet Witch's slow fall to levitate for a bit and gain the higher ground on your opponents. One scenario would be when you charge your chaos energy on enemy tanks and then use Mystic Projection to levitate and get up in the air. Then you would slow fall and then unleash your burst projectiles on the enemy healers and the DPS that are standing behind the tank or in harder to reach places. The last ability is the ultimate, which is called Reality Erasure. When you use this ultimate, you begin a charge state that takes at the moment 4 seconds and you slow down, but during this period, Scarlet Witch enters a free flight state, which means that you can move freely. Then after charging, you unleash the ultimate and deal massive damage to everyone that is in range. The big two downsides of the ultimate is first the audio cue, because Scarlet Witch starts to yell and everyone can hear you and you will be the center of attention. The second is that Scarlet Witch is very vulnerable because she is slow when charging her ultimate, so she can be easily bursted down. So the big thing here is to know when to use your ultimate. Of course, you will want to catch as many enemies as you can, especially if they are stacked together, but you cannot go between them and start to charge your ultimate because you will be bursted down immediately. So you will need to flank or stay behind your tank and start to charge your ultimate, and when you are really close to unleashing it, you should move in between the enemies and burst them down. So now let's recap and go over some general tips. First, you should use the Chtonian Burst as your main attack, not your basic attack. So the flow usually goes that you empty the chaos energy with the Chtonian Burst and then use your basic attack to recharge it back, and as soon as you recharge it back, then start using the Chtonian Burst again. Since the basic attack skills with maximum health, Scarlet Witch is extremely effective at melting down tanks. So when you play Scarlet Witch, you might want to take a bit of a more proactive role and peel for your healers and protect them from tanks or other heroes that dive in and try to disrupt them in the back. Since the disruptors have a high amount of maximum health, then you will deal some pretty good damage to them and discourage them from harassing your healers in the back. Mystic Projection is a very valuable tool. First, you can use it defensively to retreat or to dodge some ultimates, and you can also use it offensively to reposition yourself and flank. When you are flanking and you try and surprise your enemies, start with the Chtonian Burst because it deals a lot of damage and the enemies are much easier to hit when they are unaware of your presence. Then after they become aware of your presence and start running or using their escape tools. The ultimate is very tricky to pull off, first because it has a very strong audio cue and everyone will know that you will use it, and because you are very vulnerable when charging it up, since you are not very mobile. So make sure you know when to use your ultimate and not put yourself in danger. Try and flank and use it behind the enemy lines, or use it in team fights when you come in from the side and from behind, usually starting the charge way before you go into enemies. Overall, Scarlet Witch is a very good choice for a duelist, and it is also very beginner friendly. Her kit is simple and contains many tools. She deals solid damage while also having good mobility and good escape tools when things go south. Her ultimate is very powerful, and when used at the proper time, it can really change the flow of a team battle. If you found the info in this video helpful, help me out by subscribing to the channel, dropping a like, and keep slaying in Marvel Rivals.